Welcome to the Third Wind channel. Today we're going to be doing Riverdale and more specifically the top 10 characters from the show. Remember, this is just my opinion, but feel free to leave your own opinions in the comments below. Without further ado, I have 6 honorable mentions first, and then I have my top 10. So my first honorable mention is Tabitha. We haven't gotten to see so much of her yet, but being Pop's daughter, she just instantly makes a really good impact. And I really like the direction they're going with her, so that's why I wanted to mention her. I think she's going to be a really important character, and, first impressions are great. Next, I got Sweepy. Sweepy's always been kind of more in the background, but I've always thought that he really makes the serpents feel authentic. Just like this really loyal kid to his gang, and he's got a lot of sweetness in him. I like that it goes against that whole rebel stereotype. Next we got FP, who I just, at first his shtick was pretty original, but at this point, all he's doing is saying, "My boy's going to college," and he's very predictable at this point. He's also, he's traveled away from Riverdale now, and I don't know. I do like I like his history, how he's the leader of the Serpents, and his father and all this. So there's a lot there, and with the history with Alice, so it's interesting. It just doesn't feel top 10 worthy. Next, I have Mad Dog. I think this is a really underappreciated character. We meet him in prison, and he's always shown to be this respectful guy who's nice to pretty much everyone. And he gets out, and then we see him just succeed, and that success story, and he's helping kids in his own brother's family. It's just he's such a you know sunshine. How do I say this? I just think he's a great character, and I love his friendship with Archie. Next, I have Alice. Alice, I appreciate her character, and she plays a mom pretty perfectly. But yes, it gets annoying, but it totally makes sense. The fact that she was an agent really threw me off guard, but yeah, I think she deserves an honorable mention for sure. And lastly, Sheriff Keller. I think Sheriff Keller is amazing. I think just like Fred Andrews and FP, he is Riverdale, and he doesn't get enough credit as, the best sheriff in town. And then we can get into our top 10. And I tried to not include her on this list, but, every way it went, I couldn't do it. Cheryl is iconic, and she deserves to be in the top 10 at this point, because without Cheryl, you don't have Riverdale, because you don't have the Blossoms, and you don't have her brother. So, the diva, the kind of stereotypical run the schoolgirl type is, yes, making an appearance on this list. Why is she so low? I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan. I don't like her kind of super hot-headed behavior, trying to cause damage wherever possible and then sympathizing after causing damage. Like, I don't know. A little bit too sporadic for me. And unpredictable in a bad way. Number 9, I have Veronica Lodge. I don't get me wrong, like every character in the top 10, like after Cheryl, I really do like them as a character. And Veronica Lodge, why do I have her, relatively low for, our top 4 character in the show? I don't know. I guess I just I find her kind of spoiled and unappreciating of the things she has. Then again, she's gone through plenty of loss, but things always end up okay for her, and she still ends up kind of always unappreciative of what she has. But that being said, I think she's a really smart character. I like her um, blasting kind of female empowerment and just she's powerful. She's a force to be reckoned with, and I like her confidence, and I think she's a great character, to be honest. Um, I have her father at number 8. He comes off as, to me, he's kind of like a villain, but at the same time, he isn't. There's never really a moment where you're rooting for him, but at this, even though he comes off as a kind of character that everyone hates, he's important for the show, and he is one of the main conflicts we see in the show in Riverdale, and this long story of what's happening to Riverdale is connected with Hiram, and I think he's actually a pretty greatly written character. The biggest flaw with Hiram, I'd say, is that he it just feels like he is completely invulnerable to the law, and he can do whatever he wants, go kill people, beat up people, he never gets punished. He even owns the prison, so that makes for a really scary villain. What can I say? Honestly, a pretty well written villain, and yeah. Moving on, I have one of my favorite villains, Penelope Blossom. You know, she is kind of in the background in the first season as just kind of like this grumpy mom, but she turns out to be just a mastermind and this amazing villain, a chemist. You know, all these concoctions and poisons she makes. She was the one who set up the whole Gargoyle King stuff, even all the way back, dating back into the school years of our parents. And I don't know, I just love how she's just a mastermind and no one expected it. So and you know, her relationship with Hal was interesting, and I don't know. For some reason, I think she's a genius character with a lot of kind of things going on that weren't aware of. Next, I have Archie at number 6. Archie's great. Archie's like the heart of the show, along with his dad, and I really like what we see through Archie is really like a trial and error of who am I, what can I do, I want to be good, but it doesn't always work out. There's just all the kind of more minor conflicts on a smaller scale, like him hooking up with his teacher, him having relationship troubles, him having trouble at home, like all these like smaller scale problems that we see through Archie in terms of like a citywide kind of deal, are really interesting. And I wouldn't call Archie a smart guy, and he definitely doesn't make rational decisions half the time, but he does have heart, and I like what they've done with him. Honestly, they could have made him a little smarter. Next, we have his dad, who is, if I say Archie's the heart of the show, I really mean probably Fred is, because the heart that Archie has is what Fred gave him. Fred is the one who wants Riverdale to be a town of good people, a town of growth, a town of family. He is, you know, the kind of unrealistic optimist. Um, that being said, I do think he wanted something that was in the past, and he didn't look progressively enough in terms of his like kind of political movements and all that. But regardless of that, I think Fred is a really well done character. You just heart, you know. And who can hate Fred? There's no. I mean, I guess some of the affair stuff, but really, come on, who can hate Fred? He's just great, all around solid. And for some of the same reasons, I have Pop Tate. Ooh, I have Pop Tate at number 4. So Pop Tate is, man, I keep using this word, but you know, I'm gonna switch it up. He's like his chocolate shop is like the lighthouse of the city, you know, of the town. This is He's always throughout the years provided refuge to anyone, and he's always been there. There's one thing that's consistent in Riverdale, and that is Pops. And I love that aspect. I love the relationship he has with the kids, and you know, everyone in town knows Pop, and he's just, if even more likable than Fred. You know, I wish I had a Pops in my town. You know, it's that kind of feeling, and I don't see how anyone can hate Pop. It's just he's great, and his daughter's great too. Moving on, I have Jughead. I think many saw this coming. I love how it seems like, I don't know anything about the comics, but it seems like the story is being told in the future by Jughead in chapters. And I think that makes it really interesting because it could be interesting to rewatch when we know if that's true or not. Just him recollecting all the thoughts. I'm a huge fan of monologues, so maybe that's why I like Jughead. I just love his intro dialogues, and I hope they just keep doing them. They're great. And his story, he's like you know, Archie's painted to be this hero, but I think Jughead is more of a hero. He's kind of like the voice of of the town, to be honest, through his writing and what he's been through. He's so super smart, and his relationship with Betty is honestly probably my favorite part of the show. Just to see them kind of crack mysteries together, it's a really good feeling. It's like kind of like the Hardy brothers. Moving on, and this is where I think no one will expect what I have picked here. At my number two favorite character, I mean top two character in Riverdale, I have Hal Cooper. Hal Cooper is like this. In the end, you have like a Hannibal Lecter style character, but he's just this purely evil um, villain who's quite smart. He has a very cool serial killer backstory. The whole clear the town of sinners. What they did, I think the best stuff they've done in this series is in season 1, 2, 3. You know, with the Black Hood. It's just so powerful, you know, and him communicating with his daughter. One of my favorite series is the Scream series, which you see something similar going on. That's kind of calling Scream mechanic. I love that. And I don't know, I just think Hal is just super underappreciated and a super well written character, to be honest, for a show like this. And I think he just goes under the radar. His death was a little bit disappointing, but other than that, I really like Hal as a villain. And number one, I think that most of you at this point are well aware of who's left here that could be on in number one, and that is Betty Cooper, the daughter of Hal, the improved version, the potential serial killer in the future. Um, I think she is the smartest character in the show. That's number one. I appreciate that a lot. All the things she goes through, her problem solving skills, you know, solving all these mysteries, being the best accomplice to Jughead, and she's nice to everyone. I like her relationship arcs. Even her relationship with Archie's like really interesting and strangely realistic, I'd say. Um, Overall, I don't know. Betty just without Betty, I just don't imagine the show. What I don't even know the word I can use to describe her role in the show. Um, but yeah, that's my top 10. I'm sure literally everyone will disagree, but this is how I feel about the characters in the show, and this is my top 10 for Riverdale. If you like this video, I've done a tier list for Riverdale characters. I've done a tier list for the ships in Riverdale. I've reviewed the sets and locations in Riverdale where um spoiler warning, I put Pops as an S tier location for, you know, but if you want to see the others, you can go watch that video and you can subscribe for future Riverdale content and let me know in the comments what kind of video you might want to see from Riverdale. And without further ado, I'll say I'll see you guys soon.